The law of sine, determine the missing angles. All right, so we look over here at example 3, and we're going to find the measure of angle B in triangle ABC. And while we're at it, we might as well go ahead and find angle C. The first thing we do is identify if it's a right triangle or not. And in this case, we can look at it's a 69-degree angle, but there's no indication that there's a 90-degree angle in there. And now when we use the law of sine, we know that it is the sine of A over its side and the sine of another angle B over its side. And then we can say, well, that's also the sine of C over its side. Now, we only really need 2 of these ratios to do anything. So it doesn't really matter. We just use sine of an angle over its side equals the sine of another angle over its side. Now, what does that mean? When we find an angle that we're looking for, so for example, in this side, angle B, all we need to do is say, if we're looking for B, all I want to do is make sure that it has a corresponding side to it. And you'll notice it does. It's got 150. Okay. Once I have that, I can say, okay, well, I'm looking for the sine of B over 150. Now I know that we're using the law of sine if I can have a completed ratio. The second must be complete. Okay. That's going to be the big go, is the second one must be complete. So when I do that, I say, okay, well, I've got 69-degree angle. I go over to the other side and check it out. Both parts are involved. So this is a completed ratio. So I can now say sine of 69 over 250. Another sneaky thing that I like to do as a visual is it's the law of sine if it makes an X in the middle of the triangle when you are only missing one piece. Just a little visual there, okay? And now when we do this, we're just gonna do basic solve. I'm gonna cross multiply and divide. So 150 times sine of 69 equals to 250 sine of B. Okay, and then we're gonna divide by 250. Okay, we gotta get and isolate that angle B. Okay, now when we do that, you're going to notice that we should be using the inverse to solve for the angle. So I'm going to write this as sine inverse of 150 times sine of 69 all over 250 equals to the angle B. Okay, let's go over to Desmos. We'll type this in. You'll notice that I did not take the time to change any of the values right now. I do that last. So sine inverse. Okay, I'm going to open up 2 there. I'm going to put 150 times sine of 69. Okay, close. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide that whole entire piece by 250. Now, you are going to notice that there is an angle that comes out that is negative right now. And you're probably thinking, well, why in the world did it come out negative? Well, we're working with degrees, so I need to make sure that I go over to this graph settings of the wrench and Desmos, and I need to make sure that I am in degree mode. And once we do that, you'll notice that the angle comes out. Okay. So we know, just based off of this, that we have a 34-degree angle. So B is 34 degrees. So let's go ahead and write that in there. Now, the other thing that I said was, well, why don't we go ahead and solve for C while we're at it? Well, do we need to do the law of sine now that we have that? Absolutely not, because the one thing we do know is that there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So we can just subtract off the 69. We can subtract off the 34. And that will give us whatever the measure of angle C is going to be. So depending on if you need it or not, we just come right over here to Desmos and we just type it in 180 minus 69 minus 34, and we get a 77-degree angle. Okay, and let's go ahead and put this up here. We know that this is a 77-degree angle. So remember, law sine, two ratios set equal to each other, and only one piece can be missing. A nice visual is that you use the law sine if you're making an X within this triangle when you make the connections between the angles and the side. Just remember, only one thing can be missing.